One thing I did not know about our friend Lauren is that she is interested in welding. You have welded.
I have, I don't even know. I soldered.
But you took a class.
A course.
Yeah, like you
on making
went all
rings.
in.
Yes.
So
I made a set of rings. I should wear them to prove to you that I did.
Oh, I think
and boy, is it fun. Oh my gosh, using one of those little tiny blow torches.
Which you told me you could get on Amazon?
Yes.
Which I did not know.
You can.
All right.
And the butane replacement.
Well, this is a fun segment. I'm excited
fun
to talk to our next guest.
Well, I am too. This was kind of eye-opening to me. There are about 400,000 welders in America. Only 5% of them are women. In fact, according to our Bureau of Labor, across the board, 96% of all trade jobs are held by men.
Okay, so I found this article written last week by an Iowa professor who decided, I'm going to follow my passion, which is welding, even though I have this full-time job as a professor at Iowa State. So let's bring in Joe Mackiewicz. Hi, Joe. Thanks for being with us. So
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, so you are a full-time professor. You have your hands full. In your spare time, though, you said, I want to learn how to weld. What made you want to explore this passion of yours?
Well, I'd always been interested in it. My grandpa worked at Globe shipyards during the war. And I had an injury, and it was hard for me, and this was back in 2018, it was hard for me to do things physically. So I decided to do something that I could do, and I could weld, even though I couldn't run or do some of the other things that I like to do. So I took the injury as sort of an opportunity to try something new.
Okay, so cool. So you wrote about this in the Des Moines Register. Loved your story and your perspective. As you're a professor at a community college and got a degree in welding, tell us about that experience of going to school and learning the trade.
It was wonderful. I went to Des Moines Area Community College and took classes with a lot of different people from different backgrounds. It was challenging. I don't think I have necessarily a natural aptitude for this. Some people think that women might be more apt to be welders. I don't know if that's the case. I think maybe we all have gifts. I'm not sure that I am the most naturally capable to do it, but I practice and I've learned a lot since I first started at school.
And can I ask you a little bit more about that, Joe? So I want to dig into that a little bit, because you took your experience in school and then you did go into the workforce and you worked in a shop. So I want to ask you about that, because you write about some of the challenges, both physical and then also emotional, and there was sexism, and I'm just curious if you can tell us about some of your specific experiences out in the real world.
Yeah, well, in school, it was challenging. I sometimes was the only woman in the class, but as I progressed in the program, more women were coming in. So often it would be 2 or 3 women. As far as sexism goes, I didn't encounter so much in my programs. In fact, one of my teachers, welding teachers, is a woman. And at my job at the weld shop where I work, I have wonderful colleagues and a wonderful boss. The sexism I've encountered, I would say I call it like a low grade sexism, sort of micro sexism, where, for instance, I got asked if I was the new secretary. So it's more of those kinds of experiences that sort of build up. But there's plenty of research that shows other women who work full-time in welding and in other trades encounter far more sexism than I've encountered.
And that's tough emotionally. And then we also, I wanted to ask you about the physical challenges, because I imagine there were challenges that you didn't anticipate or that you maybe weren't able to do, things you weren't able to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's complicated. At some of the shops, besides the place where I work, I visited a range of fabrication sites across Iowa, from big ones like Vermeer or John Deere to real small ones like Custom Steel in Ames, Iowa. So the kinds of physical work that you have to do is overseen by OSHA, but and it will depend on like what sorts of resources are available. In a small shop, you might be doing more lifting or other physical tasks that can be challenging. So it really just depends on where you land. But in any case, if you're in a trade, it's going to be physical. And so as a smaller person, yeah, I found sometimes it's hard to find, I call them workarounds, for when I have to do something that's a little beyond my strength or my capability. But there's usually solutions, like, for instance, using a hoist. So these are the sorts of things that you're supposed to do anyway to comply with a lot of OSHA regulations. We're not supposed to be bending or picking things up in unsafe ways.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that maybe women are more likely to need to do in a really physical job, they're just best practices in any case.
Have you learned, Joe, from your experience so far, how do you feel about adding more women to the trade? Do you think by having more women in these positions, not just welding, but across the board, we can improve these industries? I can imagine there's something special that women do bring to these jobs.
Well, I don't know if women necessarily bring something special to it, but I know that women should have the opportunity to follow what they want to do. So I think a lot of people have been shut out historically from trades, and I think a lot of people have found it more difficult to make inroads into apprenticeships and other kind of aspects of trades. I think they've been perceived in certain ways and have been shut out, whether forcefully or subtly. So I think that what I want to see is that anyone who has the determination, has the education to do something, is willing to practice and put in the time for what I call deliberative practice, those people should be able to have opportunities. And that includes women. So, and all people. So yeah, I think that's what I would like to see.
Well, what you've done is really incredible. When I first saw the article, this is really cool. This is somebody who's just following a passion, number one, but also and being an example for others who may be shy to move into a space like this that is so heavily dominated by men. So we appreciate your time. Thank you so much and good luck. You'll have to maybe keep in touch with us and show us some of your projects moving forward. We'd love to see.
I would love to.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Joe Mackiewicz, who's a professor at Iowa State and also now a welder.
Talk about a career
incredible. This is one stat that she had in her article, let's see, from 2017 to 2022. So we're talking about over COVID. The number of women in trades rose 47%. So that is a lot.
That's great
and that is
progress.
good. So not just in welding, but all across the board.
All
so
trades.
Good stuff.